I appreciate it.
Hi, everybody. Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. And today I am here with somebody very special. I would like to introduce Randy from Swarm of Comics. He's coming on the show for the first time tonight. Randy, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well. Well, as you know from backstage, I'm not well. Yeah. I'm terrible right now, but we'll just say everything's awesome. It's definitely not 86 degrees and my central air didn't stop working. Don't just forget all of that.
As I was saying too, I went through that last year, and some of the people here may remember that night I had the broadcast, and I was boiling down here, going like this a lot. So I get completely what you're saying. So, Randy, you've had this channel for a while. How long have you been on YouTube?
So my guess is 3 years. I'd have to go back and look at the channel and scroll back. But my guess is 3 years ago, I probably did my first video because I got my first comics graded. I didn't know anything about grading. I only had one graded comic and I bought it that way. And the guy who's been doing my pressing and submitted him said, "Hey, you should just record on YouTube and put it up." And I was like, "Sure, I'll do one video. That's fine."
Yeah, I'm a couple of days away. I'm a couple of days away from my 2-year anniversary. And I remember seeing your videos before I started. The first time I watched you and subscribed to you was way back. I call them my dark days in terms of before I became this wonderful personality I am on the camera. So what got you into comic books when you were younger? Or it could have been 3 years ago for all I know. But what was it about comic books that got you hooked?
I don't know if there's some predisposition for just nerdy things in general with people. I mean, let's check off the things that I've liked in my life. Comic books, sci-fi, Star Wars, Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, nobody just randomly one day is just like, "Hey, I love something completely different and I suddenly love comic books." I just don't think that's what it is. I think there's some that in your brain that loves Lord of the Rings, that loves Douglas Adams books.
I would agree with you because you just literally mentioned my childhood. Except for the Douglas Adams, I didn't discover him until I was more a teenager. But yes,
well, yeah, teenager. I still consider that a kid. I consider at this point anybody under 30 a kid.
Actually, my first exposure to that whole Douglas Adams world was the really bad TV show from the 70s or whatever from BBC that my dad watched. The one there, the end of the world one where, you know, the original one, the TV show was Zaphod Beeblebrox, where like he had like the head on the shoulder like this.
Oh yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hitchhikers, yes. Oh, so
which was a radio program before it was anything. It didn't become a book until after it was already a radio program.
Oh, very cool. Like see, I did not know that. See. You're learning everything every day. It was the restaurant at the end of the universe. I think I've reread over and over and over, and that's why I was trying to remember what was the first one again. So, anyway, so you, how long have you been collecting comics?
And that's a great question because there's a divide. There's clear lines there. What I was going to say is we got into comic books because comic books we have this explosion of movies and in pop culture everywhere, but that's how it was when I was a kid. Literally, comic books were everywhere when we were kids. We had a TV show, educational show that was on after Sesame Street. That was Electric Company that had Spider-Man. Spider-Man had cartoons. Spider-Man had a live-action TV show. We had Superman movie in the 70s. Like, we had an explosion. Underoos. Every kid wore underoos. Batman underoos.
I had underoos. I had a Super Friend. My mother has shown me a picture of me when I'm 3 years old wearing a Super Friends t-shirt, which means it would have came out the year before. So
right. We had the Super Friends cartoons, Batman cartoons, Fantastic Four. I mean, you could not as a kid get away from it, but I wasn't a comic book collector. My brother and I loved all those things. We had underoos. Side tangent story. We were in a car accident when we were kids, probably 8 or 9 years old. And my brother and I were wearing underoos and my brother bumped his head, Bronze Age Bill. Hey, Bill, he'll watch in a replay. He's doing something else tonight. And I saw him in the operating room and they had to cut his clothes off of him. And he was wearing his Batman underoos. And my back was killing me from the accident. And they came out and said to me, "How are you?" And I was like, "I'm fine." I wasn't telling them anything because they were not going to see my Spider-Man underoos. Nobody was seeing my underwear at the hospital. And of course, I've had crippling back problems ever since. But we were just exposed to it. And we had comic books. Oh, you'd get an Archie comics here, or someone would give them to you in your Easter basket. My brother was in the hospital and somebody gave him a stack of comics like Red Hot and Casper and things like that. And we loved Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Super Friends. But it really wasn't until we were probably 11 or so, 11 or 12, when we started collecting. And Spider-Man was my thing. And I loved Spider-Man. And we also started getting into comic books that were toy properties that we liked, like G.I. Joe. My brother loved Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark movie in 1981. That was the comic book. So we started reading some of these comic books because we were exposed to it through movies and cartoons and toys that we played with. So that's how we got started. It was just sort of natural progression, but we were not collectors from when we were a little kid.
You just pick up stuff, eh? And you just next thing you know, you've got a whole bunch.
Yeah, we happened to be like 12 years old, and we moved to a new town, and we made friends with a kid who not only was he a comic book nerd and like collector. His name was Louis Zioli. He was the first comic collector I ever met. But he knew I didn't even know comic book stores collected. He took us to a comic book store.
Oh,
and
yes.
I mean, it was mind blown. And we were in middle school, and we even started a comic book club, or the Spanish teacher, Miss Malik, started a comic book club, and we joined that.
Nice.
And so that's how we got started. That's the shortest version, I promise you there.
Very cool. So let's take a minute to say hi to everybody who's come tonight. Let's see. Kay Munin, who of course is first, just checking in. Yes, you're still first, Kay Munin. We've got Thomas O'Donnell out there. Hi, Thomas. Still what? Another Legion book. Are you not running out of those yet? I saw your video earlier. It's good to see that you're still going. Rob Saint, good to see you. John Harrison, the man of the awesomeness, who is going to be my guest on this show next week, Robbie Josephs. We've got Mark's Issues with Archie Comics. Hi, Jeff. Jeff Jack has made it. He's happy to be on time tonight. We've got Nintendo 25.
I love that portmanteau. I love a good portmanteau, and Nintendo is absolutely one of my favorite. Hello, Nintendo, you sexy beast.
Well, this is the first time I've seen him here, so welcome to the channel, Nintendo. We've got Lau Tor here. Lau, it's good to see you. Lau will be on the show in June.
Cool.
Tan is here. Hi, Tan. Great to see you again. Tan is, of course, one of my local friends, and who's on the show, who likes to pop in as well, and he's been here too. Comic Mike is here. All the way from Montreal. Good to see you. Brittany's here. Hi, Brittany.
Saw Brittany the other night on your show.
Yeah, Brittany. Yeah, that's correct. She was by with Gary.
Gary B even let her talk a little bit.
Yes. Nate's here, and if you're want doing anything at 8 o'clock, go catch Nate. He's got Terry all the way from England joining him tonight with him and the boys.
Nice.
Swarm of Comics is here.
Had to say hello. I like interacting with the comments.
Yeah. We have, let's see here, Charlton 6674.
I love
Good
that.
to see you.
I should have worn my Charlton shirt, but I wore my Swarm of Comics shirt.
And speaking of Terry, here's Terry now. Hi, Dead Man. Good to see you. And that's everybody that's in the chat at the moment. So what are your primary collection? Because I've actually found it hard to determine that from watching your videos, because like me, you are pretty much all over the place. You know, I've seen you with, Marvel, DC, Charlton, just all over the place. So who is it that you would say you started with, and who would you say you currently collect the most of?
I would say that would have been a much easier question 5 to 10 years ago. Hold on one second. I'm going to say hello to High Grade Keys.
Oh, High Grade?
High Grade Keys. Yeah, High Grade Keys. You'll hear me refer to him in some of my videos as Comic Carl. He's a really good guy, great collector. I met him through a comic store, and he's sold me a lot of stuff and had some good, cool interactions. So I just want to say hello to him.
Very cool. Well, High Grade Keys, welcome to the channel. I don't think I've seen you here before. I hope you enjoy tonight.
Yeah. So
and
to answer your question, hello, Lau. So to answer your question, 5-10 years ago, everything in my collection just probably would have been Marvel. Pretty much just
Mhm.
all Marvel. I probably had a handful of DC books. I would say about 6 or 7 years ago, I sold like 30,000 comics. I got rid of most of all my comics. They were sitting in boxes. They were doing nothing. They were just moving them from house to house when I moved, and there was just a pain in the butt to get rid of them. And there were all these common comics at the time that who was even going to reread Ultimate Fallout #4? Might as well just get rid of that in all the books, because what are any of these going to be worth any money someday? Trust me. Every time one of these books that I had suddenly starts being worth money and become the hot book, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I used to have all of those, but I sold them off. But something funny happened on the way to the forum, and I've really started to get away from superhero books over the past 5 years. And if you were to ask me now, what publisher do I read more than anything, it would be Mad Cave Studios. I probably read more Mad Cave books than anything else right now. I've almost discontinued reading almost everything Marvel besides like Amazing Spider-Man. No more Thor, no more Hulk, no more Avengers. I keep giving those books chances over and over. And my comic book store guy said to me, you don't have to just buy them because you've bought them for 30 or 40 years. You can just stop buying them. And for your comic store guy who makes money off you to say that, hey, Big Nasty, it was kind of a little illuminating. Like, I don't have to buy this title, even though I hate it. So my collection over the past 3+ years has started to lean lots of independents, lots of not superhero books, and also going heavy on collecting Golden Age books that I just never could collect or find when I was younger. I mean, you went into your comic store and you hoped they had something on the wall for a wall book, and you probably couldn't even afford it. But now I'm old and I have the internet, and I found comic auctions, and I have, so there is no direction. Your observation is sort of right. There's no direction I'm going. If you watch my videos I've started doing called Randy's Rundown, where I sort of go through books that I'm reading, it's not all the books I'm reading. It's just the most interesting ones or new titles that I've picked up. I've really been hot to pick up independent books and different unusual titles. I like sort of X-File-y books. So Kay Moonan's asking, funny enough, as much as I grew up with Japanese anime and all those cartoons, Battle of the Planet, Star Blazers, Force 5, all of those, I never became a Speed Racer fan, and I've not read them. Although Brittany over at Comic Showcase Shop has been saying that the new books are really good, so I'm considering picking that up just upon some recommendations.
Very cool. As those who know me know, unfortunately, so to speak, I'm still a superhero guy. I will always be a superhero guy. I am. I'll probably die a DC man, too. But I am a big fan of a lot of it. Like, just because I like those best doesn't mean I don't like other things too. And I find that I am out. I did a video on how you need to focus, and I need to take my own advice again because I'm starting to go all over the place again. So
I found that I realized that being a Marvel guy was sort of immature. Like, not immature, but a little childish. Like, if there's a good book, read a good book. I'm still like, oh, I hate DC. And it's been my collecting Golden Age and some Silver Age DC that I've suddenly found this affinity for it, especially things like Batman versus Swamp Thing back in the 70s, Batman in the Shadow. Like, I love the Shadow, I love Swamp Thing. And all of a sudden I realized, wow, there's some really good stuff that I just didn't even give a chance because it wasn't Marvel. It wasn't making my Marvel.
I would say for Batman, 1970 to 1980, like till Crisis, I guess, until was his best period.
When they dumped Robin.
Yeah, partly, but also he still worked with other people, like with the Brave and the Bold and Justice League and such and such. So that wasn't it. Robin, Dick Grayson, it was his time to go. Yeah. He needed to become his own character. Yeah. But I also find that, the best Superman was also in the Bronze Age, because that's when they started taking him seriously again. And it wasn't just it just wasn't Batman. They were taking Superman seriously. No more, oh, here's a silly red kryptonite story, or here's Superman treating his Lois.
Well, they had to catch up to Marvel.
Yeah. Marvel did. I think in 1968 they surpassed DC for the first time, and then that was it.
Yeah, they had to get serious. They brought the Joker back. They brought, they were doing the drug storyline with the Green Arrow, Green Lantern, and they said, "Oh, this serious storylines and these real life this real life world, not like I live in the Fortress of Solitude. Amazing
Mhm.
Spider-Man lives in his aunt's apartment in her house up in her bedroom. Like, it
Exactly.
changed comics. I don't need to tell any fans that, but
Mhm.
you know,
I know. Like the way I put it is DC tried to be what they'd like people to aspire to be, where Marvel showed people that even though they have these abilities and powers, they weren't necessarily in better lives. Like, Peter Parker, for example, still worried about money.
yeah,
Thor, when he was the doctor, he was still worried about his patients and worried
Ron
about,
yeah,
all the other things that go with it. I believe at one point he was another person and he had a son, Eric Masterson was his name, I think, in
I don't.
the late 80s or something like,
He took over
where,
for Thor.
yeah.
Yeah,
And, other things, the Hulk with his whole, like, I'm a monster, got to get away. The Thing with his, I want to be a human, but then every time he became a human, he wanted to be the Thing again for whatever reason. So it was like, well, that was the cool part about Marvel. You felt like some of their problems you could relate to, where I found DC, and probably because it made me feel cool as a kid. Like I fell in love with it so early. DC makes you aspire to Superman,
yeah,
or with enough training and money, I could be Batman. But
yeah. But a big part of it is what you're exposed to first. And
yeah.
I was exposed to Marvel books first,
Mhm.
and that's what you become. For me, if anybody tells you, you know, talk about a Star Wars movie, your favorite Star Wars movie is typically the first one you saw. Like, you
And
hold
in
that
my case, it'd
nostalgia
be A New
for it.
Hope.
What's that?
And in my case, that would be A New Hope, right?
Right.
I
So the
went to
first
the
one I saw
drive-in
was A New
after.
Hope. I recognize it's Empire Strikes Back is a better movie, but it's still A New Hope. It was the first one I saw.
Mhm.
I know people who have told me from music from Metallica, the Black Album is their favorite album. That's how they got exposed to Metallica. Clearly,
Mhm.
it's not the best Metallica album, but it is to them.
No, it's no. I don't know. I can never pick between Master and Ride the Lightning myself, but I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, no, I know exactly. No, because again, those two, I was actually introduced to both of those around the same time because I'd never heard of Metallica at the time in my mind, and I had a friend who played me both albums at the same time, and that's how I was exposed to. So really, they were both my first listen, so to speak.
Right.
I think
So
you did Ride the
Kill 'Em
Lightning
All was
first.
my first one I
Yeah.
heard, and that's affectionately my favorite, even though I
Mm.
recognize Master of Puppets is a better album. So
Yes,
it's
I think I would say Master of Puppets technically is their best album for
yeah.
sure.
When we were kids and we went to the whatever pharmacy that had the spinner rack, it was mostly Marvel books. There just wasn't a lot of
Mhm.
DC books on there. That's just what they happen to have. And Marvel was the hottest thing going in the very early 80s for the most part. So,
Yes, I
you know,
know. Jim Shooter's period of, and by the way, that's the era that I finally broke down, so to speak, and started reading Marvel. Was during the early '80s when my friends finally convinced me you got to try this stuff. I did know the characters, like as you said, there was exposure. You saw Spider-Man everywhere. You saw Hulk on TV. Hulk, Fantastic Four was everywhere because as long as Thing was Stan Lee's favorite, it was going to be in everything. So
yep.
it was pretty cool. And I remember the cartoon with the robot, instead of the Human Torch back when I was a
Right. Well,
kid.
we didn't want kids lighting themselves on fire.
Yeah. And honestly, John Byrne's run of Fantastic Four got me hooked on Fantastic Four. And then once I got that, it wasn't a far stretch to the Avengers. So and so forth. So I've never been a big Spider-Man fan, and I've never been a big X-Men fan, but I
Yeah.
can
Me
understand
neither.
why they
Spider-Man. Terrible.
No, terrible.
I'm kidding. My whole arm is Spider-Man.
I know. I'm joking. I knew you were joking. All right. Well, I'm going to make you. Sorry, I'm going to make you big, and we can have you start showing some books.
Ride the Lightning just came out. The first Metallica tapes I owned. I wore them out. That was Brittany at Comic Showcase Shop. Brittany, you're not even old enough to remember cassette tapes. Nice try. So we're gonna make me big. But I like when you were big too.
Yes, well, I'm here to spotlight you. If you want to go ahead and open the package, open the package.
I want to ask the fans because I am watching the chat off the side to the right, so I hope that's not distracting, and that's what I'm doing. And I am reading the chats, and I am seeing what you guys are saying, and it's very interesting. Yeah, Jar Jar Binks now. But I will also say this real quick. I'm at Swarm of Comics on YouTube. I'm also Swarm of Comics on Instagram. If you send me your channel and you want me to subscribe and follow you, please do. I don't mind. I'm happy to do that and share and meet more people. That's why I do this. So please, Doc's Comic Al, everybody, if you have an Instagram you want me to follow or your YouTube channel, just shoot me those links on there. I just want to get that out of the way because I hear people saying smash like buttons and stuff. So thank you for letting me get
I have put your contact details and your YouTube channel in the description for this video, which I always do. So
thank you. I appreciate it.
People will know how to get a hold of you.
Yes, and I'd love to follow your channels as well. It's how we met some awesome people doing that. So I'm going to ask really quickly, do you guys want me to do a quick unboxing of some books that I won at auction? I could bust this open, show you some new books that I've never even seen in real life. Is anybody interested in that? You let me know in the chat. We'll catch up to that.
Okay, chat. We'll yes or no on opening the box.
Yes or no on open the box. But in the meantime, I will share a book to start with.
Very cool.
Matt said,
Lyle,
hey,
you liar. I'm sorry. Lyle says he doesn't have that many comics. He had 400 boxes at one point. He sold 300 of them. Hi, Cliff.
Oh, Cliff is here.
Yep. I had the nice opportunity. I got to meet Cliff last year, and he was a very, very nice gentleman. I
hope to meet Cliff at Heroes maybe next year. I couldn't do this year. I have to go to a wedding in San Diego. But hi, Cliff. Thank you for having me on your show. Please have me back. Please somebody put me on your show. So I'm going to talk about one book, and it sounds like the votes are going to come in yes to unbox, which I can do quickly.
Yep, I want to share my first book.
If you've watched me in other live streams, you watch my videos, hey, Uncle Griff's Comics, you see that I have a pretty nice collection that I love to show off, but I feel like I've shown a lot of those comics over and over again. Everybody's seen my Tales from the Crypt. Everybody's seen my Phantom, my blah, blah, blah. You see them behind me. When Matt said, hey, go with it, do whatever you want to do, bring up something interesting, it really made me dig out some stuff and little stories I wanted to tell. I was just reading.
I can answer your question, Charlton. It wasn't what everybody said. It wasn't that they had a problem with the flame. The problem was that Johnny was already franchised out to another property that never got used, where the rest of the Fantastic Four wasn't. So when they did the cartoon, they couldn't use the Human Torch because someone else had the rights. So they had to make up Herbie the Robot in order to take the fourth spot.
I had heard that as well, but I like the kids lighting themselves on fire thing.
That is an interesting thing, yes.
All right. I'm going to start with one book first, then I'm going to open the other thing. So, and hello, Nerdatorium. This book, I've talked about it before and had him on the show. I have a very good friend I've known since 1993. I am in a band with him. Before I was in a band with him, our old bands used to play together and would jump up on stage with each other. He is a magnificent person, a Renaissance man. His name is George O'Connor. His comic publisher, he publishes himself called Homeless Comics. He's at all the Comic-Cons in the Northeast. He goes to New York Comic-Con and everything like that. And he's been writing, doing comics for at least 15 years now. And this is my favorite series from his. And I want to talk about it because I'm hoping you guys go out there and find it in trade or go see him at a Comic-Con. He's probably homelesscomics.com. And he has that name because his partner that he started it with was actually homeless for a long time. Mm-hmm. His name is Griff, and he would draw the comics and George would write them. And they came up with Homeless Comics, and I did the logo. So in all the comic books, you see the logo. I created the logo. So very I wanted cool. to, yes, thank you. He's done some awesome stuff in all different spaces, not superhero stuff, but all different spaces. And it's really fun stuff. His latest one, it was called Vampires on Mars. And it's about a billionaire that wants to go to Mars, but how do you keep astronauts alive long enough? What if the astronauts were vampires and they couldn't die and everything goes wrong? And it's a very good series. And I did the logo for it, Vampires on Mars. So go find that. But this book is called Healed. And this book here, unfortunately, I cannot get a friggin' 9.8. It's a 9.4. So this is Healed. This is from 2010, but he has the trades. And the very simple premise of this book is, and it's an anthology. There's one short running story that goes through every issue, the 4 issues. And there's also other random stories throughout the book. And the basic premise is, please go follow us and go find this and go follow George O'Connor at Homeless Comics. The basic premise is at 10:35 a.m. on January 12th, out of nowhere, every single plant person on earth was healed. Anybody who was sick, anybody who had cancer, anybody who had anything wrong with them just was suddenly healed.
Oh, very cool.
Now, the main plot line that goes through it is, what do companies like the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry do now? How they're on a mission to get people sick again, because how else are they going to stay in business? Considering this is 15 years ago, it still feels pretty appropriate at the time. But there's other stories in there. I want to tell you about some of the stories, but honestly, some of them give me chills, and I don't want to give it away if you guys go read that. And I just want to say, go find any of the books from him. I love this cover, and I love this series. There's 4 issues, and it's in a trade. And you wanted me to talk about interesting books. This is an interesting book, non-superhero book, independent creator who we've got to support those guys. So there's some cool stories. I'm going to spoil one. There's a girl, she's on life support. She's a little kid. Her parents are like, the doctors are telling her to pull the plug. What happens? What happens when this, event happens? Is she healed? Is she not healed? Do they pull the plug before? Do they pull the plug after? You're going to have to read it to find out. So
very cool.
That's my first recommendation.
We have a question here. Randy, do you have any Archies? If so, let's see them. That's from Mark's Issues with Archie comics.
I'd have to go dig it out of a bin, but I have Archie Comics number 11. If you happen to be able to find that and put that image on the screen, I don't know how this internet stuff works. Archie number 11 is a picture of Archie walking out of school, and he's wearing a diaper and a little baby outfit with like a little bottle or a pacifier. And there's 2 girls, probably Betty and Veronica, walking out. That's my oldest Archie. Veronica to comics, welcome. She's a little late. So that's my oldest Archie, okay? And then, Veronica has that one. So the other Archie I have is Life with Archie number 42 or 41, which is technically, unofficially, I guess that's a contradiction, unofficially the first American comic appearance of Godzilla, because Archie takes a date to the movies and they go to see Godzilla at the movie theater.
I've heard that he is the first appearance of Godzilla.
I also have another Archie, and I think it's Life with Archie, and I'm not going to remember the name of it, but it's very morbid. If one of you Archie fans remembers this, Archie and Jughead go diving and they're underwater in a shipwreck, and this is the cover, and Jughead's stuck in the boat, the door closes, and he's literally like, I'm going to run out of air and die. Like, that's morbid. It's terrible. But of course I had to buy it because it's a really cool cover, different.
It's really cool. So we had 5 votes for opening the package.
Let's do it.
None saying not. So let's, I guess, 5 votes.
This is from Heritage Auctions. I won the auction. I was probably overtired and following the auction too late, and I probably overbid on some things. I don't remember what's in here because it was weeks ago. And we're full of circus
peanuts. Oh boy. Lyle wanted to know if you had any Canadian whites. He's big into those. He's in British Columbia. He's big into the Canadian whites.
I don't know what Canadian whites are.
They're the Canadian version of World War II books, because Canada banned American books during the war. And so we did our own. And they were called Canadian whites because they had color covers, but black and white interiors.
Do me a favor, whoever suggested that. Don't get me hooked on buying more stuff, please. Thank you. It's bad enough that I've started on the fringe of collecting all the covers for the Marvel 25th anniversary. And I've got to collect all of the, who knows what it is, but I have to stop collecting things. Black Cat Comics. I got hooked on Black Cat Comics from Harvey Publications back from the 40s because I couldn't afford any of the Phantom Lady or Miss Fury or any of those things. Right. Now the Black Cat books are skyrocketing in value, and I can't afford to buy those anymore.
Did you happen to catch Alan, the Comic Collector Geek show last night? He and Collecto6, who's in the chat right now. Hi, Stephen. We're showing off a bunch of MLJ and Harvey heroes from that era last night on their show.
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I was at the casino losing at blackjack. All right. We've got the books out. I think there's 3 here, so it's not that long. I think there's 1 slab and a couple of loose books. Let's see what's in here. We're going to do a live unboxing on streaming. Matt likes comics. He doesn't love them. He just likes them.
Oh, trust me. I wanted Matt Love's comics, but someone had that. So,
son of a bitch, huh?
I know.
Am I allowed to swear? Did we just
It's
demonetize you?
okay.
Oh,
No,
maybe this is more comics than I thought. Oh,
that's
boy.
fine. We're good with that.
All right. The first one was a batch, guys. So this is a batch that I won. If you bid on this is Heritage Auctions, and you can sometimes they'll have lots. Not sometimes, they have them a lot. They batch up books. And sometimes you can get some really good deals in some of these batches. And I'm gonna lie and say I got this for $10. And I think Brittany from Comic Showcase Shop, Live Unboxing. I thought that whole once warm chill.
Hi, Slick Jolly. Welcome to the channel.
That's so jolly. And hello, everybody. Everybody joining. Everybody's here. Everybody's sticking around. This is super cool. You have such a good audience and fan base here. Thank you for everybody joining. 31 people. I don't even know 31 people in real life. So hopefully Brittany likes this one. This is a batch of Dell Disney books here. So I certainly love the Bugs Bunny Halloween books, but I couldn't pass this one up with Donald Duck, Huey, Dewey, and Louie Trick or Treat cover. And this is a batch. So that was the first one. And then this is a red cover.
I have recently gotten into Dell cartoon books. I love them. I just love them. Dell and Gold Key. Like
I picked up Dell and Gold Key. I picked up a Mighty Mouse recently in fantastic condition. A Woody Woodpecker and a Flintstones that are file copies. There were some great books. So red cover with a Pegasus on there. And then we have a robot. I couldn't pass up Robert the Robot. Oh, someone's getting a Heritage package this week. Yeah, you can find bargains. And then the last book is Fishing, and there's a cat ate all the bait. Oh, so that was a cool batch of books. And they're all in okay condition. They're nothing that you would get graded, but I did like them. So that was the first ones I got. Let's just gently place that on the floor. And then, I have no graded books. There was just, they had very heavy duty backing boards, like double backing boards, and it just felt heavier. So these are good.
And the peanuts. Don't forget the peanuts.
And the peanuts. I'm going to take this one out because Heritage always has the stickers and you can't see the cover. I've been dying to pick up one of these, and I keep bidding on different issues, and I haven't won it yet, and I was patient. And not only am I dying to get one of the issues from this title, but also it's a red cover, and I love collecting red covers. This is issue 39 of the Green Hornet.
Oh, now that one is fantastic. I've seen this one before, and I love the giant die.
Nice. Yes.
Yeah.
It's got some issues, but that's what it is. What is it? What's the same? Why am I fanning on it? Low grade is better than no grade.
That is correct.
The back of this is dirty, but in better condition than the front. Baby Ruth there.
Yeah, but that's got a big area that you can clean with the white.
Yeah.
If you're into that sort of thing.
And it says on the air, ABC Network. I just wanted to see what year this was, 1948, I think. So I've been dying to pick up a Green Hornet. I became a fan of the Green Hornet and while watching the reruns, especially when he appeared in the old
60s show.
60s Batman 1966 show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we got the Green Hornet with Kato in there. So there it is. My first Green Hornet Golden Age book. Very happy to pick that up. That's an excellent book. And then the last one here, I picked this up. I wasn't a huge fan of the title in the past, but I love the big banner across. And supposedly this is potentially a 7. I bid on that green issue a few times and lost it. Oh, sorry, Jeff. I hope I didn't outbid you this time. So this is supposedly could become a 7. Now, a 7 in a Golden Age book is obviously not a 7 in a modern book or anything like that, but you'll see how clean this looks. This is Boy Comics right there.
Another title that I've recently started buying books for, and I really like.
Yep. So it's got some wrinkling down here, but I think that could press out. The spine looks like it has rusty staple, and I say staple because it's one of the books from back then that only had one staple. But it's all together. That staple's barely holding on there. This is from Lev Gleason, and I was trying to look at the year 1946, so just post-war. Let's look at the back of it. More Baby Ruth. They had like the market cornered on the back of these books.
I think Steven once gave us the history of the Baby Ruth candy bar in one of his videos with Alan, and my understanding is it was really popular.
Yeah. Well, I am addicted to candy. I can admit that. I know I have a problem. That's the first step, is admitting that. But I hate Baby Ruths and I hate Mars bars. I apologize to anybody British who's watching, and I apologize to any fans of Baby Ruth. Babe Ruth. Baby Ruth? Yeah.
It's Baby Ruth is the candy bar.
Baby Ruth. So
Yeah.
that was it. So I'm going to get this graded. We're going to say this now. I'm going to say this is going to come in at a 6. The auction house thought it was a 7, but of course they were always optimistic, and we'll see what this comes in at some point. So that is my boxing. I appreciate you guys letting me do that. And I'm just looking at the comments.
I appreciate you taking the time to do that. I love, one of the things that I've liked about comics is it isn't just seeing other people's books and stuff like that. It's like when people send you AOKs, and when you send off AOKs, it's so cool to watch them open the books or have the chance to open the books yourself. I don't know most what other people are, but I always feel like a kid at Christmas. And when they're coming in all year, it's like, wow, it's like Christmas all year round. It's kind of fun. Yeah. And speaking of which, I got to get off my ass because I have like 4 AOKs I've got to get out. So they're sitting on just waiting to get to the post office. Have you got anything else for us?
Yeah.
Awesome.
A bunch of stuff to stick. I chose this next book because I really loved it, and because I feel like it was underrated. And I think at this point, the writer is so hot. So you guys let me know if you've read this book. If you've not, if you like the supernatural and you like Westerns and you like good art and writing, this is the title for you. This is Canary. So this is by Scott Snyder and Dan Panosian. Panosian? Yeah, Panosian. I don't know why I questioned that. This happens to be a foil cover, and this is issue 2. I got this one graded because it was a foil cover and it was in mint condition. Somebody asked the question. I'm interrupting myself. Which golden age
genres do you collect, Randy, and why? This is Stephen Collecto6.
Yeah. So Collecto6, I collect weird stuff. I want odd stuff. I like entry level stuff, and I like bizarro titles nobody's ever heard of. I've never heard of. I will pick up Action Comics, detectives, things like that, but I'm not trying to get a run of any of those or anything like that. I pick up random ones that I like in the cover that maybe are interesting that I can get at a good deal. But in general, I buy weird stuff. I buy love romance books. I'll buy Bomber Comics. Go look for Bomber Comics issue 2. It's all of the Axis-powered leaders like Hitler and Mussolini as bowling pins, and somebody's bowling them down. Like really odd, bizarre, strange golden age stuff is what I'm really attracted to. So, okay, Uncle Griff's Comics.
Yeah.
No,
I had Uncle Griff on last week. He was pretty cool with he was showing a lot of golden age books last week.
Well, if I don't follow you, Uncle Griff, I'm going to say this for everybody who joined later. I'm Swarm of Comics on YouTube and Swarm of Comics on Instagram. Send me your page to follow you on Insta and to follow on YouTube. I love following more channels and learning about stuff. So this is a Scott Snyder book. As we know, Scott Snyder's maybe popular right now with one of the titles he's doing, but this is a Dark Horse book. I was good to see somebody in there had this. I think it was 4 issues. I think could have been 3 or 4 issues. It's from 2023. Go pick this up. Supernatural, Western. I read this and said this would be an amazing movie or series on Netflix or something like that. So my golden age niche is Atlas Westerns. Oh, well, if you like Atlas Westerns, buy this modern Western. So that was the first book. If you guys want another one, I picked this up from somebody who was just trying to get rid of stuff. They won it in an auction. They had some weird shifty story. It was 2 comics. It was Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 5. And I got a shifty story, and in retrospect, I hope the books weren't stolen. But this was the other one, and what interested me about it was the first published work of an author who we just recently lost, which is Sam Keith. This is from Kamiko. I've had this for a couple of years. I didn't buy it because he passed away, but this is the first published work from Sam Keith. Most people don't realize that. I know a lot of people know him from Sandman, and of course, you know him from the Max. But Kamiko, I always also used to call it Kamiko until I was corrected. Probably learned it from watching somebody on a YouTube channel. But Kamiko, Primer was an anthology book to give new artists and writers a chance. It was like an audition book. And the book
I
in
love
here
that.
And this
anthology books are my thing. Like I've always loved anthology. Like Dark Horse presents action comics, detective comics, more fun comics. You name it. If it's an anthology, Tales of Suspense, all the books before they became Iron Man, whatever, you know, that's my.
But even going back and for a long time, any of the titles like action, detective, any of the ones with titles like that were anthology books. Even after Superman and Batman were big, they still had other stories in them. You know?
Yeah, I know. It's only they only became exclusive to them in the 70s.
Yep.
And even then, the action only did that through periods. And same with detective, they would have periods where it was just them, and then backup features again. It was great.
Right, backup features are a great way to test, the waters. I mean, that's what comics originally were. Superman, they didn't know Superman was going to be big. Batman, they didn't know was going to be big. I can't remember whether it was a Superman or Batman, but things moved slower. There was no internet. They didn't know why the comic was selling so well. Mm-hmm. Superman isn't even on the cover for like a whole bunch of issues of Action Comics.
Yeah, what happened was Superman was on the cover for #1, but they were afraid if they put him on the cover all the time that people would not buy them. So they went with some generic covers. They didn't sell as much. Superman was on cover 4. That one sold. Yep. And it took them to 13 when they finally realized, okay, maybe madam, I ordered it today. It should be here in a few days. But yeah, no, like it was this whole thing. It took them that long because they couldn't get the sales figures until the returns started coming in. And they realized the returns with the ones with Superman on the cover were lower than the rest of them. That's when he's like, well, maybe we should put Superman on the cover every month. And then there we go.
They got smart. At one point, they put a little circle picture of Superman saying Superman story inside. Yep. So anyway, Kamiko Primer is where the first appearance of Matt Wagner's Grendel was in an issue. And this is not super expensive. But the characters you can see on here, because I've been holding up, my arm's tired. Sam Keith's Max the Hare. And it's not the Max. It's not an early version of the Max. It's a bunny rabbit. And the art is very dark and good shadowy. And the villain bad guy things actually sort of look like the Max. It's that style of his art. You could see his style of art. His early stuff was very John Byrne because, of course, that was the hottest stuff going. So anyway, I wanted to do this because in memory of Sam Keith, who put out some awesome stuff over the years, some of the best Wolverine, Marvel Comics Presents covers and everything he had done. And I feel honored to have this. It's not an expensive book, but it is a cool book. And I was glad
you're showing me this, and I'll tell you right now, you couldn't see it, but I've written it down on my must check out list. See?
Awesome.
I love anthology books.
Good. So I'm going to show one more regular size comic. And again, stop me, ask questions, and jump in anytime. Hey, Metal Elf here. He likes metal too. Metal Elf, you missed the whole conversation about the best Metallica albums. You'll have to watch the replay. All right. This book is, it has a story behind it, and I've told it once before. I'm going to spoil it right away. It's Batman Adventures #12 with the first non-in-universe appearance of Harley Quinn here. And of course, this was from '93, and this is super hot book. It's never not going to be hot. Everybody loves this book. It's a beautiful cover and artwork, and everybody loves this. Hi, Mike Pope. But the reason I brought this is because the fun little story behind it. It was an online estate sale, and I dig through them sometimes online because you can find some good deals. And I dug through like 14 pages online, hundreds and hundreds of listings, and it didn't list there was comics, but it was close enough to me just in the next state over that I figured I could drive there. And I got all the way through. Last page or second to last page are like 20 pages online was one of the old Marvel and one of the old DC 20 packs that they sold at like Walmart or something like that.
Right.
From '93. And I think the Marvel one was '94, '92. And if you look through the photos, you can see there's side-by-side 2 on the front and side-by-side 2 on the back. So you had to dig into the second photo, and this is what was on the back. And And people didn't really bid on it because they didn't know it was there. It was on a comic auction. It was my first, and I was sweating when it was like the auction was finally going through. Somebody found it and bid up, but they just didn't have the bankroll there, and they didn't want it as much as I did. I think price wasn't the issue for me, like cost. It was the winning it and getting it and finding this score in the wild.
Oh, yes, and that is a great story. I love stories like that.
Yeah.
My biggest, my biggest one I found a first appearance of Thrawn in the quarter bin.
Thrawn. Oh, Admiral Thrawn?
Admiral Thrawn. The first book,
bin.
In a quarter bin. They didn't know what they had.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, this was in a 20 pack and they were shrink wrapped and they'd been around. This was I only got this like a year or two ago. So it'd been sitting there in somebody's basement or whatever. So I had no idea the condition and I had no idea what it was. The downside is the book was on the outside cover. So when they shrink wrap, you're going to have a problem on covers on those.
Yeah.
So I won the Marvel one and the DC one, and I went and I drove down to get them. And when I went in the house, they were selling everything in the house. It was a complete clear out. Lamps, benches, couches, just people were buying everything. And I walked in. What's that? Estate sale. Estate sale. Yeah, someone was just doing a full house clean out. And they don't know anything about comics. They didn't know what they had. They should have had it right at the front, like comic books, but they didn't know. And that's the little like treasures and treats you're looking for here, like the chasing these goals. And I'm going to tell you, I went and I got their hands sweating and they handed me. They said, "Oh, you're the guy who bought the comic books." They're like, "Is there anything good in there?" And I was like, no, it's terrible.
Terrible. Yes.
and then I got home and I unboxed it. And every single comic book in both of them was in perfect condition. Except this one.
Yeah.
It had a fold on the back cover, folded over crease at the top.
Still an 8.5 is still pretty damn good.
Can you see the whole 1-inch crease and my fingerprints on there? I don't know if you can see. And it had bends, it had ticks, it had everything. And my presser, Tom Anderson, hey Tom, he took this from me, and I'm going to tell you, no lie, there was no way this was better than a 6.5 when he got it. And then he took care of it. And when I unboxed this, I'd never had such a joy unboxing anything in my life. You could have told me I had Amazing Fantasy #1 and a 9.8, and it wasn't as good as this, because the chase and the hunt for this is an 8.5. Couldn't tell you what it's worth. Don't care. I could be worth $100. It could be worth $500. Don't know. Don't care. That was just the fun story behind that I wanted to share.
And it's the hardest thing about a hunt is you've done it. And then you sit down and go, now what's next? Yes. At least that's me anyway.
That was it.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Randy, for coming to the show tonight. This has been an absolute blast. If you guys have not checked out Randy's channel before, it's a lot like this. He has a lot of videos with his brother, Bronze Age Bill. Bronze Age Bill, by the way, is very knowledgeable too. Although I like the way it does. Is he playing when he says, "Oh, I don't know," and then you give him the answer, or does he not know the answer?
He doesn't know. Bronze Age Bill collected in the Bronze Age, and then he didn't collect. And now the only comics he reads, I've said this before, is the ones I give him. I'll say, "Hey, here's a stack of comics. Go read these."
Oh, very cool. Very cool.
Sometimes they don't come back in the best shape because he has 2 little kids.
I've been lucky. My kids, basically, I take them to Free Comic Book Day. The comics they get are the ones that they just, that they tend to handle. But they're teenagers now, so they're not as wrecky as they used to be. I remember I'd buy my daughter when she was 4 or 5 years old. She'd want an Archie digest. I'd put the $2 down, and then in 3 days later, bent the whatever, and we go no, but I kind of knew it was going to happen.
I know.
But now I'm at the point where I have a feature on my channel that's called Random Books My Daughter Picks, where I do a video where I don't film her doing it because I will not put her on screen, but she'll come down. I'll say, pick a box. She'll pick a box. Then I pull the box out, take the lid off and say, pick a book. She'll point a book, and I pick 3 in front, 4 behind, and that's what I make as a video. I review those books as the video. So, and I had her pick yesterday, so I've got another one getting ready to go.
Good, fun, different content. content, and I've definitely been trying to find different ways to branch out and have more interesting content.
Yeah,
I know
well,
people love
I find
unboxing
that
videos.
way. Even I don't know what it's going to be, and the books that she pulled are books I would have never thought I'd make a video about. And this is the way it is. It's like, oh, these are literally it's literally 8 books that are just stuff you'll find in a dollar bin. But she randomly picked them, so I'm going to do the video. I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. If you're not doing anything at 8 o'clock Eastern, go check out Nate on his channel, Hall Yeah Comics. His special guest tonight, and everybody in the Comic Buddies Network knows what Terry's been going through. His guest tonight is Terry, and he's staying up in the United Kingdom to be able to watch that tonight. For him, that's 1 o'clock in the morning, or midnight. Midnight now. It'll be 1 o'clock by the time we get there. Thank you all for coming. I want to thank everybody too. Yeah, if you haven't had a chance yet, check out my sponsor, Nefarious Comics in Ottawa. His website is in the scroll below, and of course in the description of the video. Thank you all for coming tonight. My name's Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Bye, everybody.